guys, I'm Cyn, as you know, and today I have with me Gothix, well, aka Vanessa, but really it's Vanessa, aka Gothix, and she is a YouTuber that has exploded over the past several months. I mean, I first found out about you. I couldn't tell you the video that just kind of popped up on my screen, but it was last summer sometime, I think, and around there-ish. And so I started watching you and I'm like, I like the way she thinks. She's so sensible and commonsensical. You know, it's just like, that feels like such a rare quality these days, as I'm sure you've noticed. I'm just immediately drawn to people like that. So when I started adding interviews to my channel, I was like, I would really love to have her on, but what the heck am I going to ask her? I don't know what to say.
We can just chill. We can just do that.
Yeah, just chill. So I did have some things. I saw that you, I think it was one of your streams on Twitch, maybe, where you were, no, you know what? Scratch that. I'm just going to focus more on you as opposed to, I was going to go into the content advice you were giving YouTubers, because part of this is about YouTube and how to do your channel and stuff like that. But tell us a little about yourself, for anybody who has no clue who's watching this, and how you evolved and came to be doing what you're doing on YouTube.
Yeah, totally. So my name is Vanessa, but I go by Gothix, and I find that it's more memorable than just saying Vanessa. Everyone's like, who's that? So,
well, it's hard for me to remember to call you Vanessa because all I've known you as before I knew your name was Gothix. So I have to stop myself from, you know, because that's not your actual name. But how did you come up with that name?
It was just a gaming name that I had.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, to be fair, in high school, I was goth. I dressed like that all the time. And then I was a big gamer back then. And I was like, oh, this is a cool sounding username that I can have. And I just kept it with me throughout the years. So as far as like what I do, I've been a content creator since 2018. I've been doing it full time for a few years. Got my start on Twitch.tv as a gaming and improv comedian. And I was seeing a lot of, you know, growth over there. And then after my run-in with cancel culture and the woke mobs, I started to shift a little bit into social commentary, and that's where I am now.
Yeah. And you're doing, I think well, not long ago you passed 100,000, but I'm sure you're above that a good bit now.
Yeah, so I think it's 167,000.
Oh my goodness gracious.
It's like, wild.
It was just like a week or so ago you were doing the 100K celebration, and it was just a little bit like maybe 119 or 130 something. I can't remember. So you're just growing very, very quickly. And I know it's got to be kind of overwhelming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you ever find
it's a great problem to have, but you know, navigating it's very new to me, because I guess like I saw success on Twitch, but it was nothing like this on YouTube.
Wow. Did you have you ever had moments of, so my channel is teeny tiny compared to yours, but mine sort of took off last year too, because I started some of the content I started adding to my material. I was doing reactions. I started doing reactions to stand-up comedy, and I would add my thoughts, you know, commentary, and so people started to notice, and it was just like it was overwhelming on a much smaller scale. But do you ever have this feeling? I think they call it, I don't know exactly how to describe it, but I think they call it imposter syndrome, like where you feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to realize I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You know, I really don't know anything. Do you ever feel like that?
Not so much with that, because I mean, I get a lot of weird comments where people try to, you know, assume what my intentions are, like, oh, she's saying this just for a cash grab. So I tend to not really give those types of comments attention. But as far as, I don't think I have much more imposter syndrome as I do a perfectionist issue. So, you know, one of the reasons that I have not uploaded, like, I know there's a lot of YouTubers that'll do like a video a day, and I'm like, I don't know how the heck you do that.
That's me. I do that.
That's you? How do you do that?
Plus, I have a job.
What?
Well, see, okay, because this is why. Because I mostly do things like reactions and commentary to trailers. I do movie reviews, and I do reactions to stand-up, and just reactions to other type of stuff too. And it's just, I talk off the top of my head. I don't do a huge amount of editing. I don't have to prepare a script. Like I'm sure you have to prepare a script. You've got it, your content is very nice and neat and orderly. You don't have a lot of ums and ahs and you don't have to stop to think because you've got it ready.
Right.
I don't do that. So that's why I'm able to get, I get about 1 or 2 up a day, Monday through Friday, typically.
Oh, wow. So I would love to get on that level, because it's definitely different from Twitch. It's just live streaming, and I could stream for 6 hours a day, no problem, because it's just natural, where it's something, if I'm preparing it, making a script, doing editing, it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's also one of my faults, because I'll be editing a 10-minute video for like a day, and I'm like, I gotta get this out. I gotta go. And sometimes I'll see something so minor, and I gotta fix that because someone's gonna comment on it, and it's like I have to talk to myself sometimes, like, it's fine. No one's gonna like today. The video I released today, there was about a minute or so where I was out of focus, and I said, I'm just gonna upload it. Forget it. Just upload it.
Yeah, people will forgive you for that. It's okay.
Yeah.
Especially people that are loyal to your channel. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's only people that are tailholes that will make rude commentary like that. So.
Oh yeah.
But so tell me. I'm in the middle of an interview. My daughter's. I don't know. Look at the date. I'm in the middle of an interview. I told everybody. I even have a little barricade up by the door so the dogs don't come in here.
Oh, so they broke the barricade and they still got in?
My daughter stepped over the barricade because we have little dogs. The barricade's like this tall.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, they do this sometimes when I'm in the middle of, but like in the middle of recording. But when I have an interview, I tell them. So they don't, because I didn't want her. She has a gaming channel on YouTube, and so she adjusted her streaming gaming schedule so that she could accommodate my interview with you. Very sweet of her, right?
I love that.
What the heck was I saying? What were we even saying? Oh, I was going to ask you. So what is a day in the life with your content creation? Like, how hard do you have to think up subjects, and how long does it take you to prepare the script and to do the filming? You said the editing can take you up to a day for just a 10-minute video. Yeah. So we know that much already, but
I'm trying to get better at it. It's with every video I'm getting a little bit more better. Like, for example, as far as like the topics, it depends on how I'm feeling, and it depends on how crazy society is, and if I have topics that I've just been itching to get out, sometimes it just builds up, and then I convert that frustration into my script, making a good script that's easily digestible for whoever's watching it. So that kind of just comes whenever. Like today, I've been sitting around the house just thinking, like, what should be the next script? I'm not entirely sure. So that's why I don't have a consistent upload schedule, because it's like whenever it happens, it happens. As far as editing and stuff like that goes, I ended up getting a teleprompter that I can put over my camera, because before I would write a script in Google Doc, and I would look up the camera, look up at the screen like this, and that would take me hours just to record.
Is it the Parrot teleprompter?
Yep, that's what I got.
I got one of those when I had, because I have another channel under my alias in the book publishing world, because I work in audiobooks and manuscript editing and stuff like that. So I work under an alias, and I got one of those things. I was using the teleprompters. I started to do that, but the problem is I don't have the time to get everything just right. And I would put all this makeup on, and I would try to get lighting okay, and then I would just do this, and and it's like, I don't have the time. So I stopped using that. I have a Parrot. Do you have the little remote control? I guess you do.
I do, but it doesn't work. So the battery's just dead.
I got one of those, and I've never pulled the little tag out to use the battery or anything. So I was going to say, if you need a remote, I'll send it to you.
Oh, thank you.
I've never used it. The battery might be dead now, though.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
So you use the teleprompter, and that helps.
Yeah, it cuts down. I think for recording now, it went from, I think one of the first videos I tried doing, it took me like 5 hours to record. It was like, oh, I didn't say that right, or I stuttered here. Yeah. And now with the Parrot teleprompter, I can do it within an hour, and it's so much easier.
So much, because you want it, when you're using a teleprompter, you don't want it to look like you're using a teleprompter. You want it to look like you're speaking naturally. So I can get the frustration. That was what I did at first, and like one of my maybe my very first video, I was doing that. I was doing the back and forth. I'd try to like look at a line and sort of memorize it, and then look up to the camera and try to look all natural, but it was so obvious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Can't do it.
No, it's very difficult. So, but did you ever end up finding the help that you were looking for on Twitter? You were saying something about needing, I can't remember your exact wording.
So I ended up having a conversation with another content creator about this, because I was I think I was just very overwhelmed. And I still have those moments where I'm just like, I look at my inbox and I have to train myself to be selective with who I respond to. And I'm naturally just the person that loves conversating. I love speaking to people. When I have my community on Twitch, I just like engaging with my audience. And overnight I went from 1 email a day, 2 emails a day, maybe to like 40, 50. And I'm like, I can't keep up with this. And some of them, a lot of them actually are, books of like stories of people just spilling their heart out to me.
You were saying that on a podcast you did with somebody. I was listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I talked to my friend about this, and I think that it's just, I was overwhelmed. And I don't think I'm there yet where I actually need a video editor and, an assistant and all this stuff. I think I can do it. It's just new for me because, I guess I was expecting kind of this gradual growth, like where I saw on Twitch, it was like, okay, every few months I increased an additional 10 viewers. I got an extra 10 subs. It's like just gradual. With YouTube, it was just like, surprise, you're viral. So just trying to navigate that. I'm like,
Right. Yeah, I know. I sort of know what that feels like. Like I said, I experienced it on a smaller level, but I wasn't really prepared for it. And in the beginning, it was easier to keep on top of responding to comments and things like that. But I can't respond to everybody anymore because you want to, like you say, you want to reach out, you want to connect, and sometimes it's physically impossible. For one thing, you just don't have the time in the day to do it. So but it's a good problem to have.
It is, totally.
So I was also going to ask you about, you were giving advice on this is what I was starting to refer to early on before I more appropriately introduced you. You were talking on one of your Twitch streams about advice for content creators. And I think one of the things you mentioned was you suggested that they just do what they love to do. And that, I guess, things will follow along as they should. So this is something, what you're doing now, this is something you genuinely love to delve into, this social. See, I talk about it a little bit myself in my content, but I don't have the time or the I don't want to put up with the headache of dealing with the kind of people that kind of can come around, when you express a certain opinion that's deemed unpopular. So I mostly stick to the entertainment related stuff. And sometimes social commentary comes up just because it's kind of everywhere, but what you're doing, I guess you must really truly enjoy getting into that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's weird because social commentary, even like political commentary, I wouldn't say I'm like specifically in love with those topics in particular. What I love is arguing. And I like arguing. I'm very competitive, and I don't like when people insult my intelligence. So if there's something that I think that, okay, you know what, I can make a good argument for this. I like doing that. And I like seeing people in the comments saying, you made me think about something. You made me reconsider something. I love that. But also, yeah, there are some aspects of the commentary that I do hold dear to me personally, especially as it relates to Black topics, because, growing up as a Black person, I would always hear, you're not Black enough, you're losing your Black card, you're acting white, things like this. And these are topics that I think never get addressed. And I'm starting to see this huge push of other Black creators doing similar content to mine. And I love it, because now that means more conversation is going to result from that. And I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I really appreciate seeing what's happening. I hope that it's something that will continue, because I hope we're seeing an actual concerted effort at pushing back against cancel culture and the attempt to silence dissenting opinions, and this grouping of people based on whether it's their race or their gender or their political identity. I mean, we're becoming so segmented and so tribalistic. I mean, not necessarily you or me, but like we as a society, we're becoming so tribalistic. We can't talk to each other. And if we do try to talk to each other, we're demonized for associating with the other side. It's really depressing.
It's very depressing. It's very concerning. As kids, you're so curious to learn about the world and ask questions like, Mom, what's that? And as adults, now we're kind of falling into this, I only want to hear things that I like or things that make me feel good. I don't want to hear differing opinions. And it's really sad and scary.
It's quite scary. And I've mentioned before in some of my videos that I don't really see anything good coming from it, because so I know you had touched on this when you were in the podcast interview, but I can't remember the gentleman that you were on. It was something very recent that you did. It was like
Buck Angel.
Is that who that was? No. It wasn't your podcast. You were a guest.
Oh, I was a guest. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I listened to that. I haven't seen the Buck Angel one completely. I just saw a little clip of it, but you touched on the Gina Carano thing. You didn't mention her name specifically, but you guys touched on it in the course of the discussion. And what's funny is that she got into all this trouble. I think that was just an excuse. I mean, they were looking to get rid of her for a long, long time. But she was pointing out something that I've mentioned before. I don't remember if I've mentioned it on my channel, but I've mentioned it in other social media platforms about how, so back in the day in that country, he would very effectively demonize a particular group of people to make everybody else blame them for all the problems that were going on. And so these were the steps that led to him being able to do what he did, which is what she was trying to say. And I just have a really overwhelming sense of doom about that, because it feels like, not necessarily that we're going to turn into that overnight, or maybe, it may never happen, but that's the type of mentality. And it was really driven home to me when all the stuff happened last year with, the pandemic and then all the rioting. And it was just like, I said to myself, if we ever thought in this country that we weren't capable of becoming something like that, at least in our brains, in our mindset, this year completely, or 2020, demonstrated very clearly that we absolutely were capable of that sort of thing. And it was terrible.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people just get too comfortable and have been desensitized, I think, from reality a little bit. And one thing I always talk about is the concept of safe spaces. I hate them because it coddles you from the real world. So the possibility of something like this happening, of demonizing one body of people, blaming all your problems on them, making them out to be the bad guy, that is very much a reality. And I'm starting to see it happen. It's been happening for the past few months. And I think a lot of people knew what Gina was referring to, what she was trying to convey. The problem is, I think a lot of people don't want to admit that they themselves have become the aggressor, that they are the problem. And listen, people make mistakes. People, may have a lapse of judgment. I get that. But now I think that it's time to put, your pride aside. Because there's like, if you just objectively look and you see what's happening right now with like the division in this country and a bunch of other countries for that matter, it's kind of it's crazy because I get so many comments from people in other countries that are comparing situations in America to what's happening over where they live. Like, oh, the same thing is happening here. And I think that people just got to put their pride aside and realize that, yes, human beings are terrible. Okay. There's good people and there's bad people, and you cannot change human nature. And, if there was this idea of peace and utopia and, everyone loves each other, we would have been doing that for generations prior. So the idea that in 2020, this could never happen to us, I think is so naive. And I feel bad. I really feel bad for people.
Yeah. Well, I think that in today's, this is something that's been going on for not just the past few months. It's been happening for the past several years. It's just feels like it's coming to this really nasty peak is what's happening. It's just getting more and more intense. And so in that sort of environment, you started to find your voice and sort of as your thinking sort of was going about its way and your thoughts were evolving or, as you were going along that journey, and then you decided to speak out and express your thoughts. And how scared were you to do that? Or did you expect the pushback that you got? Because it seems like it was pretty bad.
Yeah. So first I want to tackle back to what you just said, that this has been happening for years and not a few months. I totally agree with you. And I think part of the problem with me, I was previously unaware of this stuff happening, because when you're on the left, you're in this echo chamber. And, I was one of those people that, I believed a lot of what I saw on the news. This concept of fake news, I thought it was just a troll, like someone's just joking.
Like, no, this is label.
This is actually a thing. He's serious. This is fake news. So when I had the realization that, okay, things are not what they seem, I started, questioning stuff. I anticipated, I was going to lose a lot of my audience. Like I said earlier, I had my run-in with cancel culture over on Twitch. So my audience had already taken a hit. And at the time when the BLM reemerged last year, I wanted to speak out about the hypocrisy I was seeing with this movement. And I said, if I do this, I'm going to just destroy whatever's left of my career on Twitch. Yeah. And I was prepared for it. I said, it is what it is, because ever know when you have a hunch about something, it's like this pit feeling in your stomach, like, no, I know this is real. I am confident in my position on this. Yeah. It was one of those. And so it was like, I'm going to lose my audience, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I started uploading videos, and it was a gradual decrease of people leaving me, unfollowing my channel, just gradual, until I uploaded the video of why I voted for Trump, and then it just dropped tremendously. It was like, bye.
And this was on Twitch? This was
on Twitch.
Oh,
yeah. But like, look at Twitch though. It's very one-sided, philosophical wise, majority.
I didn't realize that. I just thought of Twitch, that it was just like a gaming, it's where people would do gaming. I didn't realize there was a huge amount of that sort of ideology. I thought it was just kind of like sort of neutral.
Yeah. Oh no, and I thought the same thing too. When you think of gaming is just gaming. That's not specific to one party.
Right.
But it was very terrifying to go on social media. So we refer to it as streamer Twitter, just like they have Black Twitter or political Twitter. There's just different sectors.
Okay.
And streamer Twitter, it was just, during BLM, it was, if you voted for Trump, unfollow me. If you voted for Trump, you're against human rights. You're this, you're Nazi, you're this. And I'm like, whoa, where is this coming from? Why is this happening? And you know, that was a very eye-opening experience to me. So yeah, Twitch is very one-sided, and very woke. In fact, I have a few open tickets with them that they still haven't responded to me on, where I was getting harassed by a creator on their platform who was overtly racist, but does so under the guise of activism, so she thinks she can get away with it. And Twitch still hasn't responded to me. And it's like, okay, well, there's a bias there. Like, so yeah, I mean, I lost a big chunk of my audience over there, but then I'm starting to see it come back up because of YouTube.
Well, when you do your streams, I think you were saying on the podcast where you were a guest, you were talking about how your streams dropped to like 80 or something like that. But haven't they, like when you would do live streams, have they picked back up? Because it looked like that they had.
Yeah. So around the time that my lowest on Twitch after the cancel culture and after the Trump video was around 8, like 8 concurrent viewers. Yeah.
That
but before
so
that,
disheartening. So disheartening.
It was so disheartening. But it wasn't even the viewership drop that was disheartening to me. It was the fear that people that were watching me didn't actually care about me. They didn't like my content. They were just there either to use me, because that is an unfortunate reality of content creation where creators just want to use each other. You know, when I went to TwitchCon, I had so many people, like I couldn't even walk very far at TwitchCon, which is like a convention for Twitch.tv. Yeah. And I couldn't walk very far without people running up to me, other creators saying, "Oh my God, Gothix, can I take a picture with you? Can I take a picture?" And then when all this cancel culture happened, these same people were attacking me. And you didn't really like me then. This was just a photo op, just for clout tokens. Right. So when I had that 8 viewership staring at me, it was more so I'm disappointed because these 8 people, do they care about me? And that was the most painful thing.
That sucks.
Yeah, but now it's back up now. Now it's like around 100 usually on Twitch. Still not comparable to what I get on YouTube,
what
but
it was
it's
before.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on there the other day, last week, I think, and it looked like it was above 100, but I can't remember the exact number. So I was like, oh wow, she's doing pretty good. So that's a lot of people to be watching you at one time. Of course, some people have like 2,000, 3,000. It's like, how in the world?
You can't even read the chat at that point.
No, you can't, and that's why they use super chat.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I can, you do the super chat, and then I haven't done something like that because my audience is still quite small, and it's easy to keep up with, the commenters and everything, but I just can't imagine that much of an influx of people. That's crazy. But there was something I wanted to ask you. I think I was watching your stream, the one, maybe it was the last one you did on Twitch. It was sometime last week. And I was wanting to ask you a tech question, because it looked like to your right, you had a Stream Deck. Do you use Stream Deck?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, I do.
I like tech questions. Like, I like to ask, like, what's your mic? What type of mic are you using right now?
Well, I have a Shure SM7B microphone.
Oh, that one. Okay. A lot of people use that. That's the dynamic mic. I thought about getting one of those because I do audio. Well, I don't actively do audiobooks anymore, but I looked into the Shure. Yeah. And one of our narrators has a Shure. They're supposed to be pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's great. Before that, I had a Rode mic. I don't remember which one it was exactly. And then the first mic I had was a Blue Snowball Ice.
Oh, I was going to ask, was it the Yeti?
No.
People use the Yeti.
Close.
Yeah, well, it was in the same family, sort of, kind of. So anyway, where do you see your YouTube channel in the future? Like, what do you have any plans for what you want to do? I think you said in some interview or some stream that you were doing that you were wanting to get into podcasting. I mean, you sort of kind of have a podcast already on the other channel. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called.
Subtweet this.
That one. Yeah. That one. Because you also have, I wrote this thing down. You also have something that you've referred to called, well, maybe it's just a hashtag you do, cancel the culture.
Yeah. So I'm starting a channel just for that too. And this is one of my problems is I take on so many projects where it's like, what do I do? Just get overwhelmed. And especially right now with the, the tensions that we're seeing, I feel like my voice can be used in so many avenues. We got Black culture over here. We got, cancel culture over there, which I have a very big connection to. And there's so many things that I want to do. And I think that right now I'm still just kind of winging it as far as my YouTube channel. I'm in the back of my mind, I like to think worst case scenarios sometimes just because I like to be prepared for the future.
Yeah.
And worst case scenarios for me is eventually my YouTube is going to get taken down. My YouTube channel is going to get taken down.
Yeah. That was one of my possible questions, because eventually I feel like they are going to come for you.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of time, especially because I follow a lot of creators that, talk about the same things I do. And a lot of them have been demonetized, banned, So it's like, I'm hoping that if I just keep doing what I'm doing, someone, whether it's a company or whatever, will be able to say, let's book this girl. Let's sign her. Let's have her work on projects with me. So at least I have a dedicated source of income, because right now I'm just doing YouTube for the most part. Before this, I was just doing Twitch. So, and I see cancel culture and censorship. It's becoming a bigger problem, and I don't know when that's going to turn around. So I'm hoping that someone out there will notice me at some point to give me a backup plan just in case something happens.
Well, are you on? I saw that you're on Minds.com, because I've also sort of, but not that I really get into a lot of controversial stuff, but one of my main problems is copyright stuff, because I'm a reactor and I try very hard to abide by fair use. So I add a lot of commentary and, just to make it transformative. But still, you never know if YouTube might decide, that's it for you. So I've started to branch out to other platforms as well, Minds and BitChute, but that's whatever. And then Odyssey. Have you checked out Odyssey? Are you on Odyssey?
I am on Odyssey as well.
I might be following you, but I'm all these other places too, and I try to look for the same people. It's very possible I've seen you on there and just completely forgot, because I know you're on Minds.
Yeah, I'm on Minds, and it's mainly, I think I'm mainly going to focus on Minds and Odyssey. Like I have a BitChute, and I tried uploading to Rumble. I wasn't really digging it all that much.
Yeah.
There's a,
check out DTube.
DTube,
but it's confusing as heck. It's connected with Steemit. It's confusing, and it's the last time I was using it, it was buggy, and also there doesn't seem to be an integration with your YouTube where they will transfer over your YouTube material like Minds and BitChute and Odyssey will do, which is so great.
Right.
But I sort of investigated that a little bit. That might be something to check out, but it might not be. You might not feel it's worth the headache.
Yeah. I'll just stick with the Odyssey and Minds for now.
I like Odyssey. Yeah. Odyssey's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that's a good idea to kind of have, your eggs in multiple baskets, because, I think eventually, and because the sad thing is that you can be as proper as possible with how you express your opinions. You can avoid any sort of really blatant inflammatory type, language or whatever, and it does not matter. You will still they'll still go after you, and they, in general, like let's say the social media platforms, they will still use. They'll say like what they said about Gina. They said she was denigrating, whatever, and she was doing all the and people that were mad at her, they were saying she was using violent language. She never used violent language, but to them, just an opposing opinion is violent. So they can throw those labels, and those labels will stick even if they're not true. It's terrible.
Yeah, if you repeat a lie enough, eventually it becomes truth. And that actually, like something similar happened with TikTok. I have a TikTok account. I really don't upload on there because, first of all, the interface is confusing as hell for me.
I know, it is. It is confusing.
But like I had a TikTok take down one of my videos that I reacted to another creator who was being just very emotional and angry about a topic, and I had the audacity to challenge them on a statement that they made with no proof. It was just a feeling. They basically said like, oh, well, if black people had stormed the Capitol, there would have been bloodshed. And I asked, well, how do you know that? Because that's a assumption. That's not something that's proof. Where's the data for you to come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
And TikTok took it down, and they said that it was hate speech on my part.
See, that's the thing. They can come up with all sorts of definitions.
Yeah.
They can change the definition of all this stuff, and they can very firmly say that you've done this thing,
right?
Even if you really haven't.
Right.
So of course they did that. Of course they did.
Of course they did. I wasn't surprised, but I mean, I'm like, this is stupid. This is dumb.
Yeah, it's actually, oh geez. I know, I swear we can bitch about it, but I don't know what's gonna turn things around. Honestly, I don't know what it's gonna take.
I think more people. I think more people need to use their voice, and I think that a lot of folks look at everything on like the surface value, and they see someone that's annoying or has a different opinion, and they see them get silenced, and it's like they're happy about it, like, oh yay, this person I like is getting censored.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to take more people, because humans are very tribal, I think, and a lot of people have a tendency to follow the leader. I'm luckily I'm not one of those people, I think, for myself. But that's I think when more people start speaking up, the folks that are engaging in this type of, censorship, cancel culture, wokeness, I think they're going to start paying attention, and I'm hoping that they'll ask questions. Why is it that more people all of a sudden are making a big fuss about the negative effects of cancel culture? Why is it that people won't stop talking about conservatives getting censored all the time? Maybe I should pay attention to why that is, because that's always what I say. Like, even with people walking away from the left, there is questions that can be asked about that. There is information there. It's not just people are doing it just because they're grifters or they want money. Why is it that they're doing that? That's something that we should be asking. Ask more questions.
Yeah. Well, I just find it fascinating that I like to hear people's stories as far as how they broke away from things like that, because sometimes it feels to me like people are so, cemented in their idea of thinking and tribalistic that it just seems impossible for people to be able to, I guess, wake up from the nonsense. And so I was listening, to that podcast, and both you guys were telling your stories, and I found it quite interesting because he was talking about how he was like way over there, like the type of person who was actually trying to go after people personally. And it was like, holy cow. And he came back from that. How in the world? It's a miracle, Yeah. But it's just, I think that's why people are so drawn to a person when they see that person has kind of torn themselves away from that type of destructive mindset. Mm-hmm. And did you see Sarah Silverman's her little clip
on cancel culture?
Yes, she did something recently where it reminded me of what you said. What was it? You or somebody referred to, you called yourself, I think it was you, politically homeless or something like that, because I think she either mentioned that or someone mentioned that to her about what she was going through. I found that quite fascinating.
Yeah, I can relate to her on so many levels with that. I think I saw the same video.
Yeah, it was something pretty recent.
Yeah.
Like within the past few days. I found that pretty interesting. So I just hope that more people, and the thing is, it is possible to disagree, but still respect somebody. And it's like, that's just an antiquated concept to some people. Like, no, it's not. It's not possible. If you talk to the other side, you're just as bad as them. You are condoning the violence of their thought.
Yeah, it's wild because I was brought up with the whole sticks and stones break my bones, words never hurt me. This is a childhood rhyme, and I think that as a kid I was taught to question stuff, and have conversation, and if someone doesn't agree with me on something, even if they say something totally out of left field, it just doesn't make any sense, I'll still entertain the conversation as long as they show me respect. But there are some people that think that name calling in the middle of a civil conversation is going to work. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
And I think that a lot of people, I wish that people would just say, what is the point of this? You know, if you have to name call someone in order to get your point across, what is the name calling going to do? What's that going to do? You know, it's like the, peaceful protest. What is burning down this business going to do? What's that going to do? Bring awareness? Yeah, well, it's bringing awareness that you're kind of a dingleberry, but otherwise, like,
nice way to put it. My son uses that word.
It's a fabulous word.
It is. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you don't. But the justification that some people use to try to act like that's a completely valid way to express themselves, it just blows my mind. All the mental gymnastics people have to go through to sort of try to validate this awful behavior.
Right.
And they act completely clueless when someone tries to point out to them why that's not okay.
Right. And it's like cause and effect, right? It's like, okay, so you're not explaining to me what the point of you calling someone all these names are, but you doing this is going to cause a reaction. And that reaction could be more division, more animosity, more hate. They may just cut the conversation off completely. And if your goal is to get through to this person or educate them or unite people together, that's not going to happen with the way that you're acting. But it's ironic because even what I just said right now, me saying this and acknowledging the reality that people do these things even though they have negative effects, people would view me as being divisive. Like, how dare you point out what we are doing wrong? How dare you? It doesn't make any sense.
I know. It's like this terrible vicious cycle that we go in, and this is why it feels so refreshing to see people just kind of snatch themselves out of it and try to actually engage in conversation and not be willing to indulge in that dingleberry behavior.
Yep. Because I wasn't sure if I could swear on this. I usually ask
You can't.
beforehand.
I'm sorry. No.
So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go into my database of other cool words. I have a selection depending on where I am.
It's fine. You can. I do. I don't typically censor any of these interviews unless it's anything private, maybe that I would like to keep private between, myself and whoever I'm talking with, or vice versa. But there's one thing I do censor quite a bit, or there's a couple people I censor quite a bit, and that's the Hodge twins. When I do reactions to some of their stuff.
Oh, I love them.
I love them too. I absolutely adore those guys, and I could listen to them all day because they are so hilarious. But they have this raunchy side to them, just like, okay, that's a little bit much.
I like when they go on tangents for like a minute with the same joke. It's beautiful.
They are so funny. But I put a video up today, and in the video, Kevin was engaging in his typical nonsense of simulated sex acts, and I'm like, all right, I am not putting this up on my channel. I'm just not. And some people, they're like, oh, you cut out the best part. No,
that's great.
No, it's okay. but typically, as far as language, no, I'm fine. You can say whatever. It's all cool. So, do you plan to continue with Twitch?
I think that I Twitch in general, I kind of fell out of love with it. With the combination of the Twitch community and how nasty it can be when it's, different opinions and different philosophies, but also Twitch in general with them, you know, not answering my tickets that I put in, me asking them for help. And I have done so much for Twitch. Anytime they would reach out to me, say, hey, you want to collaborate on this? We want to put you on the front page to promote this. We want to connect you with this so we can work on this project. Every single time, yes, I am there for you. Let's do this. Let's make some magic. But then when it's me asking for help in the middle of this social climate, silence, nothing. And I don't know if I could consciously give half of my paycheck to this platform anymore.
Right.
But at the same time, it's also necessary for someone like me to be on that platform, because like I said, it's so one-sided as far as like beliefs, that there needs to be someone like me on that platform, because otherwise it's just going to be a giant echo chamber.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and this is one of the criticisms that people have about the right. And like I said, I'm politically homeless. Is that, well, the right lacks culture, where the left is dominating all facets of culture and art and entertainment. And gaming is just an extension of that. It's not specific to the left. And I think for a while people have believed that. And I'm trying to stay on there for as long as I can.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
to encourage other people that have different beliefs to go on there as well. So just overwhelm the platform so that it's not this giant echo chamber of wokeness.
Right. That's a good idea. Have you thought of streaming your gaming to both YouTube and Twitch? Maybe if you wanted to keep up with the gaming stuff?
If anything, I think I would be more open to making a new YouTube channel just for gaming.
Right. I was going to suggest that, because I heard, I found out recently that doing live streams on your channel and then like leaving the video there, that can screw up your algorithm. Mm-hmm. So I've started to follow the example of some other YouTubers, like the Critical Drinker does this. He does a live stream, but he's created a secondary channel where he then will put the video and either delete his other one or make it unlisted or private. So that'd be like you could reach a lot of people on YouTube with your gaming, because that's pretty popular too here. And also Twitch, you could do that through StreamYard. Obviously, I'm sure you know about StreamYard and all those other alternatives.
Yeah. I've definitely thought about it. Yeah, because I thought about it too on just my main channel on YouTube, and I said, I think I'm going to scare a lot of people away. Like, what is this gaming stuff? We came here for social stuff. Yeah. So I mean, maybe down the road I might consider it.
I think people would they would migrate over there to your new channel. It might not be as many, but still, you know.
Yeah.
People that like what you say, and they also are into gaming, I'm sure they would go there. And then if you stream to both, you would still have your presence on Twitch.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. But
okay.
Well, that was just a thought. I don't know. Something I was throwing out there. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's really exciting what's going on with you. And I know it's got to be pretty emotionally draining, some of the crap that you see. I don't know if maybe you sort of, if your skin has grown thicker. You've got a thicker skin now, you know, if you're used to it, or does it affect you as much as it used to? You know, or were you already kind of tough? But no, you went through a rough time. It was hard for you in the beginning.
Oh yeah, I went through a really, really rough time, and it wasn't even necessarily the name calling. It was just the deception. You know, just being deceived by people that I thought had my back.
Right.
People that actually cared about the content that I was producing, and it was all superficial. And you know, because to say that you're a friend with someone but end that friendship over who the other person voted for, I don't think that's a friendship. That's very that's nothing. So I grew some thick skin in that aspect, but also it came with this territory of now me having this giant wall of trust issues that I'm still trying to battle. You know, I want to let people in my circle, but at the same time, I don't know you. I just met you. You know, I don't know what you're about. I think that as far as like, you know, my thick skin and my mental toughness, the only thing that I find myself getting down about is just seeing how many people have not woken up. So yesterday I had a very nice cry in my apartment because it's every now and then I need a nice cry, just get it out and just like, okay, now let's go make some content. So I went on social media and I saw that there was like a video of, I forgot what his name is, some talk show host calling Tucker Carlson a white supremacist over on Fox. And that term has been tossed around so much. I've been called a white supremacist because of the things I talk about.
Yeah, I've been called all those things too, just because I don't buy into the nonsense. I've lost friends because I don't agree. I don't even vote the way they think that I voted, but because I just disagree ideologically with the way they go about things, I've been called all the names. So I completely get what you're saying. So go ahead. So they called him a white supremacist.
They call him a white supremacist, and then seeing how people are still using that as like an explanation for someone's beliefs or what someone does in their life. It's like, oh, white supremacist. And it's so disheartening because you're putting a giant target on their back. People have lost jobs over this. People have been assaulted over this. And to say that you are doing the right thing and you're on the side of humanity and compassion, that is absolute garbage. And I know that I'm doing the best that I can with my videos, trying to wake up as many people as possible. But sometimes when I see someone in high places, like a talk show host on primetime television, calling another talk show host a white supremacist, that gets me feeling down, because it's like you have this giant platform and you're literally just spewing this nonsense out into the ether, and other people who are sheep are going to believe it. They're just going to, they're not going to ask questions. Why is he a white supremacist? Can you explain that to me? They're not going to bother asking. They're just going to repeat it, and it's going to keep this cycle going. But yeah, I had a nice cry about that, and that's the only, like I said, the only things that get me down is just seeing other people that have this toxic, woke, dangerous rhetoric have massive followings. It's like, I can't compete with that.
It's scary. It's scary, and it is disheartening. When I think about it, I feel this sense of, just the situation, and I feel this sense of helplessness, because it's like, what can I do? There's nothing I can do really except to speak my mind when I feel like it's appropriate. But I also get pissed off because it's like, there's no excuse for people to be acting so dumb.
There's not. There's not.
So angry. I don't know. I could rant about this forever. We both feel the same way about it. Anyway, let me pull back and feel my blood pressure.
Just bring it down.
I've done yoga already today, so breathing. Okay, whatever. I get a little bit feisty, but I was going to ask about your documentary.
Ooh.
Are they still with you? Are they still working with you, or has that wrapped?
So it's not wrapped. On the 26th, I am leaving to go to Idaho, which is where the director it has his home base, and we're gonna film the rest of it over there. And then after that, I think it's gonna be done. But I don't really know much details after that. I think they said that they're trying to release it towards the end of this coming summer.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm excited for you.
It's pretty crazy. I was like, you want to make a documentary about me? I don't really do much.
I'll just talk online. So when you go out there, what is that? They're just going to set you up and you'll just do a seated down interview? What's the purpose of flying to Idaho? Do they have a studio or something?
So what they described is they have this place that I guess the director knows someone that owns this this hospitality boarding place where they have this library in the building where whoever's boarding there can go into this library every night and sit down and have conversations with people, have like a glass of whiskey, smoke a cigar. But the idea of this library is that you're not allowed to get offended. So you talk about anything and everything, and it's just free information, free thoughts. And from what they're describing, it seems like a safe haven away from the rest of this overly sensitive society where you have to walk on eggshells.
It's a safe space from the safe spaces.
It is a safe space from the safe spaces, yes. And I don't like safe spaces, but I like safe spaces for the safe spaces.
Okay, so like you'll be talking with a group of people, you and different people will be talking, or just you and the director?
I think the direction that he wants to go is he wants to bring me into an environment that people would normally demonize as, you know, I think people have this perception of when you think of a conservative or you think of a Republican. Again, I'm politically homeless because I know someone's going to clip this.
Somebody who isn't far left, basically.
Someone that isn't far left, yes. Right. They have this perception of just being a bigot or being intolerant, you know. Yeah. So I think for the sake of like a visual in this documentary of me going into one of these areas and disproving a lot of these ideas that people have about these individuals. But yeah, otherwise I'm just gonna wing it and see what happens. You know, I'm gonna treat it like a little mini vacation for a few days.
Is your boyfriend gonna be able to take the trip with you? Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what does he think about all of this stuff that's been happening with you?
He's always been very supportive.
That's good.
You know, when I started on Twitch, he was very supportive with me then, and even then it was a little bit weird for us because I had started getting the weirdos in my chat that would, you know, throw compliments at me, and it's a little bit weird when you're dating somebody. But now with the YouTube thing, it's a whole different territory where it's I have all kinds of attention, good and bad, and I think that the bad attention sometimes gets to him a little bit, but I think he's starting to see the progress that I'm making and the progress that he's seeing with the content that I'm doing, where it's like, okay, when's your next video coming out? Like he'll ask me, what's the next script going to be about?
So does he help you in any way? Is he involved in, do you bounce ideas off him, or does he make a suggestion?
He makes suggestions. Oh yeah. And a lot of the times my ideas will come from just having a conversation with him about something that we're ranting about, something we saw in the news. And then like, that's when the ideas pop in my head. But yeah, sometimes I'll have him look at a video first. Like, can you look at this? Can you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad will I get canceled if I upload this?
So did he evolve with you, or was he already in a different place as you were?
Oh, yeah. He evolved. We were both, you know, we were both registered Democrats, and we started questioning things once BLM started, and you know, after that we kind of went on this journey together. We saw the Uncle Tom documentary together.
Oh, that is an excellent documentary.
So it's so good. We went down this rabbit hole of information, and then we started unpacking all this stuff that we had been fed over the years. And I think that we're both politically homeless right now. We don't, you know, we're not subscribing to anything. We just want to think for ourselves.
That's the way it should be.
It should.
Yeah. It was, I became an unaffiliated voter like 12, 13 years ago. And it was so great. I'm so glad that I'm not tied to any party. I may align in more ways with one particular party than the other, but I do personally have this mixture of different things that could come from both sides of the aisle, I guess you would say. So I've had people from both sides get mad at me about stuff whenever I express my opinion. But to me, it just feels so much freer to just be unaffiliated.
Yeah. And I think people will look at that as, oh, you're afraid of commitment, or you can't make up your mind. And it's not that at all. It's the idea that you have to subscribe to a side usually comes with this notion that you need to adopt everything about that side. You know, I have to believe everything. And that's just not feasible for me. I do what I think is right and what is applicable for my life. So the idea that, oh, if I'm on that side, I have to follow it to a T, that sounds very cultish.
Well, it is.
I have no desire for that.
Right. Anybody who's smart shouldn't. But yeah, I don't know what the voting laws are in your state because every state is different. So in the state where I am as an unaffiliated voter, there's really not many limitations on me at all. In some states, unaffiliated voters cannot vote in primaries, period. But I can vote in whatever primary I want to. The only sort of reins on me is that, let's say if I voted in a Democrat primary and they have a runoff in on the Republican side, let's say they had to do it again, I can't then cross over and vote in the runoff election, let's say. But other than that, it's great. Nobody knows. Like they see unaffiliated on your, like let's say the data miners or whatever, and they see your information unaffiliated. Yeah. Well, dang it, I don't know. But then they may see my last name and assume, because my husband is from Mexico, so they may make an assumption about things that I think, but they might not be right.
Right.
So that's what's so great about it, being politically homeless. I think that's the wave of the future, honestly. I have heard that more and more people are becoming unaffiliated voters.
Yeah.
So
I think so too, because I think that also it makes you a little untouchable too, to be persuaded into doing something for your party. I want to pledge allegiance to my party. That's ridiculous. No, thank you.
No, no, I completely get it. It makes a lot of sense. So anyway, well, I can't think of anything else to chat about or to ask you, and I don't want to have you just wasting your time sitting there, but something that I printed off from your Instagram that I wanted to read for the audience because it was so freaking good that I want to have it recorded. So I'm going to read it. It was the post you made a couple posts back, maybe not the most recent one, but the one before that, where you said the face you make when you realize you're uncancelable. You remember that one?
Yes.
Okay. So it was brilliant. What you wrote was brilliant. And you captured what I think so wonderfully that I just feel like your words are better than mine. So I wanted to read what you said. I'm going to read it for the audience. Okay. It says, you said, a little over a year ago, I found myself being held accountable for having a difference in opinion. I was harassed. My sponsors were intimidated, of course. I lost income. I lost my drive to create. And for a while, I thought that I lost me. But what I've come to understand about cancel culture is it was never about accountability or consequences. It was about conformity, truth, #truth. It's a dangerous totalitarian trend that keyboard activists are using to bully the wrong ideas into submission. They think that they can make the world a better place by silencing others. But what they're actually doing is creating a giant echo chamber of obedient slaves for the elites. I am not a slave. I will not obey, and I will not apologize. That's another thing. Don't ever apologize or bow to the mob. Don't do it.
Don't do it. They will
own you. That
is
the worst thing you can do. Cancel culture has set society on a path for dystopia where everyone has a victimhood complex. And when you're a victim, you don't need to worry about self-accountability because you can blame all your downfalls on someone else. You won't need to tolerate diversity of thought because you'll treat everyone with a different opinion as a bigot or a racist. You won't need to practice self-awareness because your echo chamber already convinced you that it's perfectly normal to fight hate by being hateful. Hypocrisy and the absence of critical thinking is the new normal. I don't know about you, but that's not the reality I want to live in. They tried to erase my presence for spreading harmful rhetoric, common sense and reason, but what they actually did was give me the courage to scream louder. My rhetoric is inevitable. Just wait. #cancel the culture. I love that hashtag. and I will say, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just, I'm not a very petty person, but some days I'm just like, you know what? You thought you could get rid of me? You're not getting rid of me.
Well, see, I'm kind of the mind that a lot of times when I get pushed, I just want to push back harder, and you're not going to bully me into silence. You're not going to change the way I think, especially if I feel that that my thought is grounded in logic and reason, even if I can't express it very well, you know? And so I appreciate when what my son's over here in the background.
Is this the one that uses dingleberry?
Yes, dingleberry. Yes, it is. She used the word that you've used before, dingleberry. What? Yes, dingleberry. Yeah. Oh, dinglehead. That's
dinglehead.
Dinglehead. I've given you a new one.
Oh my God, I gotta upgrade my vocabulary.
Anyway, I appreciate that you have been brave enough to speak your truth, and that sounds so cliche, to speak your truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but I appreciate what you're doing, and I wish you all the best in whatever happens in your platform. And if you end up making yourself a YouTube gaming platform, I'll sub. I'm not into gaming.
I am.
I know you are. We got an audience member in the background here.
I love it.
I will definitely sub and you know, keep trying to check out your stuff. And I know we're both busy, but I still try to check out and support the people that I really appreciate. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on here and talk with me about you, like I've said to people who do that. But you must be so busy, and I love that little scheduling thing you have going on. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a blast.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean,
I like conversations, like I said. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, that's the whole point of my channel, is I just want to talk about stuff that interests me. And for purposes of my channel, it's movies. That's what I love, talking about movies and shows and stuff like that. But I also like to have interesting people on to talk with them if they can spare the time. And you were very generous with your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
I will go ahead, and I'm going to hit end broadcast for the audience. No, yeah.